Let's go with our local team. 2018 Fighting Illini men's basketball. They have just signed 2 commits, one being power forward Anthony Higgs, and 2 being Adonis De La Rosa out of Kent State. Anthony Higgs in that power forward position, that adds that's a big add to help Alan Griffin out in that spot, because Anthony Higgs is long, he's athletic, and he can score. Tyson, what do you think about Higgs?
Well, like you said, that's a power forward position, and that's one of the positions that the Illini desperately need. We don't have a whole lot of big dudes, and Higgs plays a big position. He's a large dude that can fill that hole, and it helps move down my boy, old Pumpernickel. It helps move him back down to the 3, where I believe is his true position, that small forward position, where he can dominate some of the other guys that don't have the beef that he's got, but he's still good size. He can keep up with the tall Lankies. So I think Higgs fits in really well. He's a great player. Decommitted from Ole Miss, like you said, had some Power 5 offers. That doesn't go lightly. He's a good player.
Those Power 5s include Louisville in that situation too. Now we know Louisville's running into some issues with the whole recruiting scandal in the NCAA. But still, the fact that he turned down Louisville to come to the University of Illinois, that's a big saying right there.
Absolutely. He may have seen what Underwood is trying to put together here and been thinking, well, I want to be a part of that. This is a guy who's 6'8". He's a great rebounder. He's out of Baltimore area in Maryland.
Perry Hall High School.
Which is known for basketball players. They breed basketball players and football players for that matter, for what it's worth. But like you said, this is a guy that can help fill out the front court. Really big dude, and he's a winner. And that's what Illinois needs. We need people with championship mentalities. This guy is a two-time state champion. And if we can bring that mindset to our program here at the U of I think we're going to be in good shape.
He kind of flew under the radar a little bit, too. The fact that, he flew under the radar because he was a hard commit to Ole Miss. But their coach left, so he didn't want to play for another coach, which you can't blame him for that. You want to play for the coach that recruited
right.
you. So Underwood's team came in there, or Underwood's staff just kind of swooped in on him. He's a hard commit to the University of Illinois, so he's more than likely going to sign being a hard commit. But that's just nothing but good things for the University of Illinois.
Here's an interesting fact that I just found is he's the first Illinois committed recruit to come out of the Baltimore area since 2005, and that was Chester Frazier.
Yep, that's for sure. And we need to recruit Baltimore a little harder, just like Chicago.
Absolutely.
A lot of good potential comes out of Baltimore. With Frazier in 05, Frazier was a phenomenal asset to that 05 team with Luther Head and Darren Williams, not to mention D. Brown, of course. But Chester Frazier did just as much for the 2005 Fighting Illini that D. Brown did. So
this will be the 7th freshman Illinois is bringing in. This is going to be an exciting team here. If not this year, definitely next year. I mean, this has got to be the youngest team in the Big Ten.
Oh, it is the youngest team in the Big Ten.
By far.
And they've also got like the 5th or 6th best recruiting class in the Big Ten, and they're all freshmen. So that being said, like you just touched on, they're going to be phenomenal in the next, not this season. They're not an NCAA tournament team yet.
Not
they haven't
yet.
seen any Big Ten play, and then they're going to be kind of in for a rude awakening when they do hit that Big Ten play. But for the fact that they do have all of these assets and these top-tier recruits with Io, now Griffin, and adding Higgs.
And don't forget Jones. He's going to be a great
Jones,
talent.
I'm really excited to watch him play this year. But the fact that they can, get all of this top-tier talent, and all these guys do want to play for Brad Underwood in his system, which the system has been coming to prove that he wants tall, thin, athletic, and just fast and explosive players, which is what he has on this roster to complement Frazier. Because Trent Frazier is honestly the leader of this team.
Yeah, and he will be going forward, yeah.
And, he's probably going to play all 4 years in college at the U of I. So him being a leader, that's just a big thing. But hopefully Io can step up and become a leader of this team right along with Frazier. And if Io doesn't, I could see Alan Griffin possibly, or Tevion, joining Frazier in that leadership spot.
And Frazier, like you said, he wasn't the leader to begin the season, but he jumped down the throat of the Illini and took it. He wanted it, and that's exactly what we need. Needed a guy to kind of take that role. Want a guy that wants to be there, wants to win, wants to do what it takes and what is necessary. And I think they're finding some good guys to fill around him with that same mentality, and I think that goes a long way for Illini basketball.
So let's move on to our second recruit, Adonis De La Rosa, coming out of Kent State. He's a grad transfer, immediately eligible. 7 foot, 261 pounds coming out. He's originally from the Bronx. The Bronx produces great potential. Obviously, it's another basketball city, basketball town. But with that being said, De La Rosa, that 7 foot, 261 pound frame, is going to do nothing but add athleticism and strength for one season down in the low block with Kane. Kane's going to need some help in the Big Ten because I have a feeling Kane's going to get bullied his first year. I mean, let's just be honest, he's not that stout yet. But when he gets in that weight room with Fletch, gets some meat on him, gets some, helps his footwork a little bit, a little bit more, or beefs it up rather, he will be a Big Ten, big man here coming up in the future seasons. But getting De La Rosa to where he can potentially work with Kane a little bit, that's just a big X factor right there. One thing about De La Rosa I want to talk about real quick, coming from the mid-major from Kent State, he's known to get into foul trouble over there. That's kind of a big issue. Well, there's another big looming issue that I'll touch on in a second. But getting in foul trouble at the mid-major level, how is he going to be able to not carry that over into the Big Ten level when the talent is so much better? But he was also averaging 3.7 turnovers a game. That's another thing that can't happen. Now, I will say this. Since he was in foul trouble all the time, it's kind of a double whammy because a lot of those turnovers are coming on the offensive end of the court. So that's kind of a big issue that they're going to have with De La Rosa, with the foul trouble and the offensive turnovers. That just can't happen if you want to win Big Ten ball games.
Well, and that's definitely agreed. He does have some issues, but this is a guy, as you said, a grad transfer that will actually bring some experience to that very, very young locker room. So I really like that about him, and I love his size, 7 foot, 260. That's what I've been harping on the last couple times we've talked about basketballs. We're getting these 7-footers, these guys that are 6'8", and they're 205 pounds.
This is a very big boy.
Yeah, it's nice to have a guy that's actually got some beef, isn't going to get just used and abused down there on the low block.
And real quick, I want to touch on this would be a great mentor for Kane when he comes here because he's going to be a freshman, but he's a 7-footer. Now we have an actual 7-footer that's proven himself at the collegiate level, and now that Kane can soak up, that information from him and just learn from a veteran that's been around.
Yeah, absolutely. We already thought Kane was going to be good, but having a guy that's been there, done that, even if it's just for a year, even if he's a little rusty on that ACL tear, it'll definitely help Kane out in the long run, help him stay throughout his 4 years, help him develop to what he can be.
Right. Rosa's a guy that played at Kent State, and he averaged 8 points and 6 rebounds. Now, it doesn't seem like much at the collegiate level, but this is a guy whose last season also included 20 in 10 games.
Yeah, and the last season it also included an ACL injury that he had to have surgery for.
Absolutely.
So we got to take that into account as well.
Yeah, of course. And then how is he going to come back from that, obviously? Because ACL, like you said in basketball, is nothing to be joked about because this is a very serious injury. But having said that, he did put up 20 points against Buffalo, which was a team that ended up beating DeAndre Ayton, Arizona, in the NCAA tournament. So if he can put 20 points up on a team that can compete with Arizona and all of the studs they have on that squad, we're looking at someone who can definitely bring something to the Big Ten Conference.
I hope that De La Rosa can get healthy and can be on the court opening day. If he can't make the preseason games, oh well. But if he can be on for that ACC tournament that we do every year that the Big Ten competes in, I hope he can get healthy enough for that. If he can't, I would rather him stay seated on that bench and get healthy for Big Ten play. Because obviously that's when we're going to need him the most, is down in that low block against guys like from Wisconsin and Ethan Happ or anybody else in the Big Ten, honestly. Because Michigan State, Michigan, they've always produced very solid big men that have gone to the NBA.